Sean, quickly, let's look at the West, and I'll try and bunch this up. This is something that my partner and I always say, especially with Boston and LA, when it's time to tighten the belt and lace up the sneakers, come April, come playoff time, these teams are going to be ready. But what I want to ask you, can you see a San Antonio taking the Lakers to the distance, beating them in the series? Do you believe in a Dallas? Do you believe in an Oklahoma City? Once it comes playoff time, and it's all for real, and the poker chips are in the middle of the table, can any of those teams beat the LA Lakers?
I don't think so. I really don't. I think you're right that, especially when you have Kobe Bryant as your star player and you have Phil Jackson as your coach, those two guys have been through this before, and they know what's coming. And you can have home court advantage on them, but they'll find a way to still win. And it's really something that seeps into the locker room, and even the guys who haven't been through it before, they'll know how to do it. And that's something I think you see with the Lakers time and time again. At this time of year, you'll hear people saying, well, what's wrong with the Lakers? They're not playing defense, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. When May comes, we won't be saying those things about the Lakers. That's just the kind of team they are. And you're right, the Celtics are the same way, that they have the experience to know how to play their best at the right time. And I think that's how this will all play out in the end.
Agreed. A couple of players not named Carmelo Anthony that could be moved by the trading deadline. Sean, what's going on in Detroit with Rip Hamilton? I mean, every other day I'm hearing disgruntled, disrespecting coaches, doesn't want to be there. Will he be moved?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's done that. And the thing is that when you look at it, they're winning. They're playing much better since they benched him. I think there's something like 5-2 now since they stopped playing Rip Hamilton. And I mean, it's a good indication that a guy that, you get in your early 30s, it becomes tougher to run the way that he used to. He's a guy who used to run just non-stop and slow down a step. All of a sudden he doesn't look so good anymore as far as being a scorer. So yeah, he's a guy who has limited value around the league, but they're definitely trying to move him. I mean, with a $25 million contract over the next 2 years, it's going to be tough.
Oh yeah.
But there might be a contender out there who can see him as a 7th or 8th man and might be willing to take a chance on him.
I'm also hearing about Tayshaun Prince as well.
Yeah, and he's got an expiring contract, so he's a little more, he's a little easier to move. The problem is that the Pistons don't like him. I mean, he's still just such a versatile player. But he's a guy that if you look at teams like Dallas, is certainly a team that would be interested in him as far as trying to put together a team that can make a playoff run. Portland, teams like that. There are a lot of those teams in the West that kind of make one final push to ensure their spot in the playoffs. He's a guy who really fit well for them. So yeah, the Pistons, as much as they like Tayshaun, would like to keep him around, I think that they can see that as a free agent, he's probably going to leave, and that they might want to try to get something for him while they can.
Any other big names, maybe bigger stars that are under the radar that we haven't heard of, that haven't come up in the news that may get traded at the deadline?
Yeah, I mean, that's the way it usually works with these things is it's the deals that you don't hear about that are the ones that wind up getting made, and the ones that you hear about, weeks and weeks in advance, those never wind up happening. I think Charlotte's going to be an interesting team to watch. They play better under Paul Silas, but they still have some financial troubles. I wouldn't be surprised to see whether it's Gerald Wallace or Steven Jackson, one of those guys wind up moving. That's probably in the conference, the most likely team, one of the most likely teams to be, making a major move. When you look
time, and I have to agree with that. But why has it been such a successful year for the team down in San Antonio?
Well, I think that Popovich and Tim Duncan kind of got together and made an important decision, and that was they can't keep being Tim Duncan's team and winning. That with him being 34, 35 years old, it was time to start to hand the keys over to Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. And really, this has been a process that's been going on for a couple of years now, as they've been dealing with injuries, and they've had some different young guys come in, whether it's George Hill or DeJuan Blair. They've had some different guys come in who have been able to help them out. And I think that what's happened is Popovich has said, you know what, we've got to start picking up the tempo here. We can't be the same slow down Spurs team that plays great defense and beats you, 89 to 78. We've got to pick up the tempo. And you look at them now, they're top 5 in offense. And that was the case with Spurs. They're one of the 5 highest scoring teams in the league. And I think that has a lot to do with Popovich recognizing what his personnel was and what his best chances of winning were. And it was going more up tempo with Manu and Tony Parker, and that's been the case. Not that Tim Duncan hasn't been a big part of the team, of course he has, but they're going much younger and they're going much faster, and I think that's really been the key for them.
And do you see them in a conference final, considering that they do have the 1 seed, and chances are, if it continues, they're going to have the top seed in the Western Conference. Do you see them going up against the Lakers in a conference final? Do you see them getting picked off there a little bit earlier?
Yeah, certainly some of the teams that Dallas mentioned is a team that sure looked good up until a couple weeks ago when they lost Caron Butler and then lost Dirk for a bit. They sort of fell off. Oklahoma City is a team that is definitely up and coming, but it really hasn't had that much playoff experience. Got their first experience really last year, and they still have a ways to go as far as maturity goes. New Orleans, Utah, they've got some pretty good teams in the West, but I don't think you have anybody really quite on the level of where the Lakers are and where San Antonio is right now. So I would say that those two teams are sort of head and shoulders above everybody else right now.
And one last thing from me, we all know that both conferences are very top heavy. We all know who the teams are. Do you think any of these other teams 5 through 8 in each conference has a chance to maybe make a run? Do you think maybe there's some magic dust in any of the cities, whether you're in New Orleans or Utah or maybe even the Knicks for that matter? Do you think that they could, any of those teams can make some noise and pull some upsets come postseason?
Yeah, I think you mentioned the Knicks, and certainly we've seen them play at completely different levels throughout the course of the year. You go back to the 3-8 start that they have, and then you have the 13 out of 14 that they won. They've been such an up and down team. If they get hot, and when you have a guy who can play inside like Amari, then they can be a dangerous playoff team. So I would say the Knicks in the Eastern Conference. Philadelphia has played much better. Okay, they started 3-13, and they've been 16-12 since. So they've been a pretty good team throughout the course of the year. So I'd say the Knicks and the Sixers there in the Eastern Conference. And out west, I mean, really, there's so many interchangeable teams. When you go from Dallas down to Denver, that's Dallas is number 3, Denver is number 7, and there's 3 games separating those teams. So really, all those series are dangerous. Anytime you have a group of teams that are that close to bunch, I think Dallas, Oklahoma City, New Orleans, Utah, Denver, all those teams are going to be really dangerous when the playoffs come. And if you give up the home court advantage, you might be in a lot of trouble. So I think any of those teams can really put together a run.
Sean, one more from me before we let you go. A team that I picked as an over, the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, I understand the injuries to Carlos Delfino and Brandon Jennings, but what is going on down there? Are they not responding to Scott Skiles? Was last year that they catch lightning in the bottle? I don't understand it. They've been putrid this year.
Yeah, and a lot of the improvements that they made haven't panned out. For one thing, they brought back John Salmons, and he really just in the middle of a terrible form. I mean, he's shooting about 38% from the field. This is a guy who was their leading scorer last year after they got him from the Wolves, and just really has had a hard time getting himself together. So, he's been a real problem. They've had injuries to Bogan. Andrew Bogan is a big key for them. He's had injuries, and that's been a problem. You mentioned Brandon Jennings being hurt. Vino's been hurt. I mean, they've had something like 13 different starting lineups, which is the most in the conference right now. So, yeah, that's an indication of just how many injuries they've had and how hard that's been. But you're right, I mean, overall, the offense has just been terrible. I mean, they're averaging the fewest points in the league right now. The defense, and this is why I would say that it is a style, that because his thing is getting guys to play defense, getting guys to run through the wall for him in terms of playing defense. They're doing that. It's just the offense is really not working right now, and I think that's just a matter of the injuries and the slumps and things like that happening for him. So I don't think Scott Styles is in any trouble in terms of the job or anything like that, and I wouldn't be surprised if they put together a little run to get themselves back in playoff contention once they get healthy. But yeah, certainly I would agree with you. That's probably, to me, the most disappointing team in the league right now.
Well, Sean, thank you so much. You've been tremendous here covering the NBA for us over the last 20-25 minutes. Hey, listen, maybe we'll have you back on right before the postseason so we can handicap who will be in the NBA Finals in 2011.
Okay, great. Anytime, guys.
Great. Thank you, Sean.